Hey, welcome back to Business 101, Introduction to Business. In this video, we're continuing our exploration in Module 7 on the topic of operations. And in this particular lecture, we're looking at the topic of quality. Quality starts with production. We might argue that quality begins and ends with production, especially with the manufacturing of goods. So, how does it happen that some firms bring higher quality products and services into the market than others? Well, it's not an accident, it's planned, it's deliberate. Steps are taken, improvements are made, and that's the topic of this particular discussion. Now, one of the tools that's used when we talk about the concept of managing for quality is the idea you see here on the top of the slide, Total Quality Management, or TQM. TQM involves all activities involved in getting high quality goods and services into the marketplace. And so typically in a TQM initiative, a TQM movement, a TQM adoption, one of the things that absolutely has to be in place is complete buy-in from the highest levels of leadership and management. You have to have leadership and example set from the top that this is the highest priority to bring higher quality goods and services in the market than you've previously been doing. And so what typically happens is some estimate, some valuation is placed on the cost of poor quality. What does that mean? Well, it means answering several questions like, what does it cost us to have mediocre quality products in the marketplace? Well, what's the price we attach to the loss in customer loyalty? What's the cost we assign to inordinate amounts of warranty repair work or unhappy customer returns and those kinds of things? In other words, what is the overall cost of continuing to deliver poor quality goods and services into the market? And once you answer that, you can assign a dollar amount to what is the real loss by continuing to not improve what's going on in production. From there, you can start to explore and research and assign what are the sources of poor quality. And there could be several sources. It might be multiple. It could be that, well, the raw materials that you're bringing in are not of high quality to begin with from your suppliers, and therefore too much gets wasted, too much is unusable, or in a worst case, that means downstream the line, poor quality products delivered to the consumer because the raw materials weren't weeded out that didn't meet the highest quality standards. There's a variety of reasons why there are poor quality in your product or service. One of the explorations is to try and find out what the sources are. And once you've identified sources of poor quality, then you begin the process of trying to figure out who will be responsible for correcting and improving these areas. Now, TQM as a process requires the principle of quality ownership. And it's a principle of TQM, and essentially what quality ownership means is getting all employees to adopt the mindset that quality belongs to each and every person in the company who creates it while performing a job. And therefore, certainly, the person on the assembly line is responsible for quality. But in addition to that, the manager who takes care of ordering inventory is also responsible for quality, as is the person in the accounting department who's making sure that receivables are collected on time and that payables are made on time to receive discounts from vendors. That's part of quality as well. It starts from the top, and again, it is getting the slow process of getting every single employee to adopt the mindset. Quality is part of my job as well. Some more tools for TQM. You see here competitive product analysis. And that's the process by which a company analyzes a competitor's products to identify desirable improvements. In other words, how will you know you're delivering good, medium, or poor quality into the marketplace until you compare your products and services to other options in the marketplace? From there, you can perform the next step, a value-added analysis, which is a process of trying to evaluate all work activities, all material flows, all paperwork to determine what is the value that these processes add for my customers. And going through a thorough value-added analysis can often reveal areas and items and processes and activities which are wasteful, which are unnecessary, which add labor or hours or just simply waste that doesn't really add value to customers, which means higher costs than you need to incur. And if you redirect those resources away from those wasteful activities, you can redirect them to places where they will deliver quality to your customers. One of the methods that's used in instituting TQM is to create quality improvement teams, which you see here as a tool in which collaborative groups of employees from various work areas work together to improve quality by solving commonly shared production problems. And so what you end up building are these collaborative groups of folks who work in different areas of the company, different areas of production, different divisions and departments, but together they collaborate to try to solve quality problems. Hey, you know, if materials ordering, if acquisitions were made and requisitions were made in a more timely manner, there'd be less waste on the accounting side. And if work materials showed up at more timely intervals, we would be able to reduce the amount of inventory we're carrying if we knew they would show up on time, if they're more reliable. Those kinds of things, those kinds of discussions, that kind of collaboration can address cross-departmental and cross-divisional sorts of problems. Great uses sometimes for a quality improvement team. And you see here listed ISO 9000, which is a program certifying by the International Organization of Standardization that a factory, laboratory, or office has met objective benchmark quality management standards. And that's similar in some ways, but somewhat different from, you see on this slide, ISO 14000, which is a certification program attesting the fact a factory, lab, or office has improved its environmental performance and environmental impact. Now, all of this can be lumped under the umbrella of business process re-engineering. And many times this is a very large movement that a company undergoes to rethink and radically redesign their business processes to make huge substantive leaps in performance and quality and productivity. And of course, you realize that increasing quality can many times be synonymous with higher performance and higher productivity, just depending how you go about the business process re-engineering initiative. Now, all of these things, of course, presume that leadership recognizes that delivering the highest quality possible into the marketplace is not only desirable, is not only admirable, it also makes good business sense. If you deliver the highest quality possible, then you have greater ties of customer loyalty. And you can receive the best advertising and marketing possible, which is word of mouth advertisement from satisfied customers. You can't put a dollar value on that. It's the most valuable type of marketing out there. Quality, however, doesn't happen by accident. Quality has to be planned from the very beginning, from the very highest levels of leadership, and then methodically and deliberately implemented throughout the entire organization. When you think of organizations and companies and products that you admire because of the level of quality and the reputation for quality that these kinds of products have always held in the marketplace, you recognize the premium and the desirability in the marketplace that those products have simply because of the reputation they have upheld. Well, remember, it doesn't happen by accident, and it happens by a deliberate focus by operations in improving quality at every possible step. I hope that's helpful. We'll see you in the next lecture.